I can record myself. There we go. We are recording. Okay. So what we're going to talk today about is the T-test in literacy instruction. And so you've got all your observation forms, hopefully, the things you need to look at. And we're going to practice looking at a video and taking a look and identifying the strengths and possibly the areas of concern with a particular teacher doing a read aloud lesson. We'll also see really good examples of guided reading later in the semester. Actually, one of them is an example from Dr. Pletcher, which is a great example of what you should be doing as a teacher. I mean, think about it. She's been teaching for years and years and years. She's done guided reading for many, many years. And so the kind of things that she does in her lessons are things you guys can follow and not feel silly for doing, because if she's doing it, that means it's a good practice. So, we'll take a look at practices that you guys can do as well, things that are going to help you keep on track with your lesson. So let's first take a look at, let's first talk about balanced literacy and all those. Oh, good, Maria can hear us. Fantastic. I'm still going to record though, okay? Okay. I should probably record every lesson just in case we have somebody who can't make it to class or is sick and misses, or someone who wants to go back and review what we did. That's always a good thing to do. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna leave my chat box up too. So you guys, if y'all see that something's in the chat, don't, feel free to say, Dr. Pepper, and I'll take care of it. Excellent. They're gonna be very similar. That's a very good question, Shelby. They're gonna be super similar. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that you saw her do or that she taught you are going to be things that you can do as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk to you guys about what is balanced literacy. It's really interesting because balanced literacy in some ways is kind of under fire lately. We see a big push, especially at, let's say, the TEA level, and other state agencies are kind of pushing for what they're calling the science of reading. Science of reading meaning focusing on word attack skills, focusing on phonics instruction, focusing on those parts of reading that we know all students benefit from. Unfortunately, the focus, we worry, as people who really are proponents of balanced literacy, we worry that some of the other parts of literacy are going to be left out, but they're so important, even with your kindergarten students, with first grade, second grade, no matter where they're at, all of these parts of balanced literacy, as we know it, are super important, and we can't really neglect them. So I'm going to kind of talk to you guys about this chart real quick. I'm going to try to keep my social distance, so y'all know. So balanced literacy, read alouds and modeled reading is part of it. And that's what you guys, your first lesson is going to be focused on. Guided reading, read alouds and modeled reading, where the students listen to a good model of effective reading, comprehension, question asking, things like that. You're guiding them through a story. It demonstrates proficient reading, expands access to text beyond their abilities. And so if I'm doing this with kindergarten, it's very possible that many of them can't read at the level that I'm reading to them. But they're able to access that vocabulary. They're able to see the way reading will look when they get further on in their proficiency with reading. And it exposes children to a variety of genres. So they're not just reading stories with a plot, narrative plot. You can also introduce them to nonfiction texts, biographies, expository, descriptive texts that some students really, really prefer. And they may not realize it if they don't have access to those. And that's a great way to, kind of expose them to those types of readings. Write aloud and modeled writing. And then we're not going to really practice much of that in this class, of course, but that's something else you can do with your kids. I did that with my 7th graders a lot. Guided modeled writing, where I showed them how to write a narrative story based on a prompt. I'm getting them ready for STAR testing. Here's an example of a prompt. Here's my thought process. I'm up there at the projector and I'm writing and I'm talking about what my thought processes are as I write. And especially for young kids, do that with them as well. Kinder, first grade, and so on. Demonstrates proficient writing, expands access to writing beyond their abilities, and exposes them to a variety of genres. Same thing with the reading, only now we're modeling the writing. And they really go together so well. The thing is also is, and this was a problem in the past, and hopefully not for you guys, but what I saw as a teacher in the 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and 4th grade, 5th grade, I noticed that a lot of times the writing was sort of not the focus if it wasn't tested. Guys, please, please, please have your kids writing, no matter what grade you're teaching. If you're teaching second grade, third grade, fifth grade, you want to make sure you're having them write as often as possible. What's great about writing in those grade levels is you don't have the stress of STAR. So you can do the more engaging, interest-based writing that I think the kids really prefer. Interactive writing and shared reading. Those kind of, well, here's shared writing and shared reading. Those kind of go together. Models reading strategies, teaches reading strategies, extends understanding of the reading process, and the teacher reads with the kids. Up here, the same kind of idea. There's shared writing. We're building a story together. Something else I did with my kids when we were trying to work on revisions. How do I revise this sentence to make it more interesting? We worked together and they helped me come up with a better and more effective writing or sentence or paragraph. And so shared writing, shared reading, really, really effective at getting them moving more toward independent. And as you can see, it eventually you do get to the independent writing and independent reading. So here what you're doing is you're sort of bringing it from a a very modeled teacher-led process to eventually becoming much more independent readers and writers toward the end. Now, does that mean that my kids can't be independent writers in first grade? Of course they can be independent writers in first grade. You want them to be independent writers. They're going to be at a certain place in their writing and their reading, but you do want to practice all of these to help increase their literacy. I kind of feel like the theory that kind of best fits this model would probably be zone of proximal development, because what you're doing as the model and building the student toward more independence is you're sort of starting at a place where they could be but with teacher support, and you're taking them there, and which is really what the ZPD is all about. It's not about accelerated reader. It's about where I can get them with teacher guidance, and eventually make that their independent level. And then we reassess them and we start them again, right? Okay. Keep these in mind. These are things that we want to try, and we want to kind of do these things in a strong literacy program. We're not going to do all of these things in this class. We're going to focus on the read aloud. We're going to focus on guided reading, where teachers reinforce skills, they engage children in questioning and discussion, and the teacher acts as a guide. The child does the reading, the child practices strategies, and they build independence. And so you eventually do get them here. But we're going to practice writing lessons and modeling or demonstrating the read aloud and the guided reading, okay? So I do want you to know about all of these parts, and just to also understand our focus for those lesson plans can't be the whole thing. That would take forever. And not only that, but we wouldn't be able to engage in the discussions we need to have with each other about our lessons and how they went. So it gives us that time as well. Okay. Any questions from group A? Everybody's good. All right. Thank you, Tanner and Allison, for having your cameras on. And I'm going to share this with you guys the way I shared this with my 3320 class. It is okay not to turn your camera on. I would like you to, but it's been such a stressful, chaotic 2020, and now it's 2021, and things aren't a whole lot better now. Sometimes you need to turn it off so you can sort of pull yourself together. And I don't mean that you guys have to, I've been in meetings where I've got to turn my camera off because I need to breathe and I need to maybe cry a little bit. And if you need to do that, guys, turn your camera off when you need, okay? If you need a break, if you need to grab some water or something, feel free to, but please, hang on, because we are going to work together on some things. So this, that PowerPoint slide is there for you guys to access when you need it. Here we go. And this PowerPoint really just sort of talks about everything I just talked about. I'm going to run through it really quick. There's really not a lot of reason to spend a lot of time on this because we've already kind of talked about a lot of this, right? Let me kind of do the power. I know what I need to do is get I should bring my laptop bag, and I've got a clicker. I could like stand over there and click. So much better than me standing here at the podium. Okay, let's see. I'm having a day. I hate it when I start my day off like blah. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we already kind of talked about what you guys are going to be focusing on. We talk about the components of guided literacy, and you guys saw that. It's the reading and it's the writing. Don't let one of them go for the other. It's really easy, I think, when you start worrying about state assessments to really focus just on the reading. Never, never, never forget about the writing. It's always so important. And it's important across the grade level or across the content areas too. especially as students get in the older grades. Here we go. Your read aloud, which is your first lesson plan, which I'm going to show you guys your template today, so you guys can start thinking about the books you want to use and you start writing your lesson. Here, the teacher reads a selection aloud to students, and she demonstrates with the students a proficient reading, expands access to text beyond abilities. We talked about that. Supports vocabulary development. Vocabulary is really important, and it's something that's easy to kind of disregard when it comes to read alouds. And demonstrates comprehension strategies and exposes students to a variety of genres. But the vocabulary portion is super important. If I have a student who I know is really not reading at the level that we want him to be at as a second grader or a third grader, it's great to be able to use texts that are maybe beyond their independent reading level, because they will have access to more vocabulary opportunities that may not be possible in the lower level texts. So that's another reason why the read alouds are really, really important. And honestly, they're a lot of fun too. Shared reading we talked about. Here is where the teacher and the children are reading together. And you will see an example of that in a little while, where it's really less of a read aloud and more of a shared reading. Where in a large group, teacher extends students' understanding of the reading process by reading from an enlarged text. After the initial reading, the teacher provides opportunities for students to join in. It could be for younger readers, it could be a book with a certain pattern that the students can catch on to, and they'll learn those words as they go. It could be opportunities for them to practice using vocabulary strategies or word attack strategies as they read together as a class. Okay. And again, activates background knowledge, explains concepts and vocabulary. You're able to model and teach decoding and comprehension strategies, as I mentioned. It's a great way to model and support questioning strategies, which we want kids asking questions. Coaching, guiding them through the correct ways to use some of these strategies, and then provide specific feedback as you go. Okay. And then guided reading. Teacher uses appropriate level text or level texts that match the students' instructional levels. And so I may have a group of students who are reading at level G. I can find a book that I think is appropriate or maybe there's a certain strategy I want to use, and this text actually has the kind of content that I know will appeal to those strategies and also to my kids. This is an example of something you might use in a guided reading lesson. Can you use it for your read alouds? For our purposes? Absolutely. And but for the guided reading especially, because each student will have a copy of it, you'll have a copy of it, and in a way the kids will read out loud. They'll do the reading, but you're there to guide them. The whole reason why it's called guided reading. Okay, so again, level text. This is a level G. This one's a level I. We've got all the way from if you were thinking grade level wise, pre-primer to 5th grade text in the book room. So let me know. We have fiction. We have nonfiction. So there's lots to choose from. I think these are both level Gs. Yeah. So when you come take a look, it's a little overwhelming, but I think you'll see that there's a lot to choose from too. But that's the difference between the guided reading and the read aloud, is that here you want them in a kind of like ability grouping, but it's for a specific purpose. Maybe you're working on specific strategies that the students haven't mastered yet. It's a great way to bring them together. 4 students or so. Identify lesson objectives. You provide a clear introduction to the text through questioning and discussion, and you coach 1 to 2 children individually. I've seen the groups as big as 4, and that's fine. Are you guys going to have children to do this with? Probably not, and that's okay. But you're going to kind of model it as if you were going to work with a child on this. And reinforces word solving and comprehension strategies. So there we go. And or, it doesn't have to be both. If you're really working on word attack strategies, you can choose one strategy as your focus for that lesson. All right, the children read with teacher support. They practice decoding, comprehension, and self-regulating strategies. What is self-regulating? Do y'all know what that means? Do you remember? Yeah, it's when a student realizes that they're having difficulty with a word or difficulty in comprehension, and having them just recognize, be metacognitive about what's going on in their head as they read. And that's what you want to kind of have students hone on with guided reading. It's a small enough group that it's less stress for the child. to indicate when they're having trouble because they're really talking to the teacher, maybe 2 or 3 other students. Discuss, reflect, and read to achieve the lesson's objective. And of course, build independence and confidence. Eventually, you want that to be their independent level so they can move on and improve. Confidence, exactly, because they are reading at a level that they can read. You have it leveled for them. So there's going to have that automatic motivation through the fact that, they're able to read the text. Okay. And then, of course, independent reading, where we have students choose a text. It's going to be at their independent level, we hope. Guys, also keep in mind that sometimes students will choose an independent reading text that you may see as maybe not in their reading level. Should I automatically tell the child no? No, let them give it a shot, okay? I've had children who've read at much lower levels than the books they wanted to read, and they were able to not only finish the really big, long text, but do well on the accelerated reader, which I know accelerated reader is not a great measure for measuring a child's reading comprehension and reading achievement, but for this particular child, it was a really good ego boost, and it really helped her improve her motivation and improve her confidence in reading. This was an 8th grader who was probably reading at about a 3rd grade level, and she read all of the Twilight books. So you can tell how long I've been teaching, right? I've been teaching a long time. She was so into them that she finished all of them by the end of the year, and she was in my 8th grade special ed group. So let them give it a shot, see how they do. Ask them questions to see if they're understanding it, especially if it's a book you've read. And if it seems like they're following it well, let them do it, because if their interest level is high enough, oftentimes their comprehension is going to improve as well. And that reading that may not necessarily be in their reading level, they may be able to handle just fine, okay? I've seen it with more than one child, but that was one that was remarkable, so. Okay, word work, okay, with the younger grades especially, but do we do word work with our older kids as well? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes that's exactly what they need. With older children, it may look different. So phonological and phonemic awareness, obviously, right? Phonics, of course. Encoding and decoding strategies and word solving strategies for comprehension. With your older students, this is gonna probably be the more common strategies you'll be using. The kinds of strategies we're thinking about here are roots and suffixes and prefixes, the understanding what they mean to help them comprehend the word. That's called morphemic analysis, so that they're able to understand and recognize the word parts, then they're able to understand and read and recognize the meaning of the longer word. So that's what I saw myself using mostly with my students in my dyslexia class who were 7th graders. We did a lot of word work, thinking about strategies for comprehension, not necessarily, yeah, we did some of this too. But because they're in 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade, and they're in math class, science class, history class, they really needed the comprehension strategies as well, okay? Things to keep in mind. So again, you might find yourself needing to do word work even with your older elementary kids, and that's completely fine and normal. Not typical, but fine and normal, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, modeled writing, of course, we talked about that. Teacher does the writing, talks about the thought processes. It's a really great way to do a think aloud with your students. And I don't know if you've heard the word, have you heard of think alouds? Great, if you heard of think alouds, that means you took the content reading class. If you haven't heard of think alouds, you're gonna hear about it now. It's really when you're just trying to make your thought processes as visible as possible, even though it's not visible, you're talking about what you're doing as you go. We don't realize how much is going on in our heads when we read and when we write until we practice doing a think aloud. And that is so helpful for kids in writing. We see math teachers do it all the time when they're solving complex problems on a board, okay? Those are think alouds. We can do the same thing with our reading and writing. We might have to kind of fake it because we're really proficient readers, but we can kind of think out loud of how their thought process might be when they get stuck on a word, or how their processes might be when they're trying to compose a paragraph or a sentence and so forth, okay? All right, modeled writing. Shared writing, again, where the class is kind of building a story together. There's some examples that I can show you guys later if you're interested, where it's in elementary school or even in the older grades, upper elementary. So let me know if y'all are interested in that. It's really effective for helping kids with their motivation to write. Guided writing and independent writing eventually, right? Hopefully some of you guys will get 4th grade when you do student teaching. I love 4th grade, so I've got to say that, okay. All right. And then research, just kind of keep in mind, reading volume predicted reading comprehension in 3rd, 5th, and 8th and 10th grade students, even when pupil factors like past reading achievement, prior knowledge, and motivation were controlled statistically. That's a big way of saying what was the biggest indicator of their ability to read. Volume, the amount a student reads is going to improve their reading more than any other factor. And that's from Guthrie, Wigfield, Mastella. Guthrie and Wigfield do a lot of like student motivation studies. And so this is really interesting. This is from 1999. They've got studies as current as 2010, 2015. So this isn't something that just happened one time and we let it go. We think about how do we motivate kids to read? How do we improve their reading? Reading volume was a strong predictor in 99. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I have a, thank you. Okay. Okay, with children that pick independent text that may be too difficult, but won't admit it later on. Oh, how do you monitor that and help them pick something easier? Okay, that's a good question, and that's kind of a tricky one because you don't want to kind of, you don't want to hurt them. You don't want to like discourage them, I guess is a better way to put it. But a lot of times, Shelby, what you might need to do is just kind of have talk to them about it. And maybe suggest something that's similar, but a little bit easier to read. Just kind of be honest, but gentle. It looks like you're really struggling with that book that you're reading right there. I know it looks like you really like horror fiction. I have one here that might be more fun for you to read. Try that. I mean, there's lots of ways to do that. And this is something I was going to cover later, but I can cover now. When you go to the library with your students, walk with them. Don't just sit at your desk and grade. I know it's really easy to do and a lot of teachers do it. Go and see if you can help your kids find books. Then you get to know what kinds of books your students like. Then you can guide them to the right area. What are you looking for? What kinds of books have you read before that you like? Oh, you might like these books. You might like these graphic novels. You might like this genre. So that's something to keep in mind too, and that's going to help you as well, Shelby. If you kind of know that he likes or she likes a certain genre or a certain type of book, you'll be able to guide them in the library to help them find other texts that may be easier to read. But it's hard, I know, when they won't, they don't want to admit it, and you need to kind of help them because you want them reading. If reading volume is going to help them the most, then they're not going to read a lot of volume if they're really, really struggling to get through a text. Okay? I hope that helped. Okay. That was that long PowerPoint in a nutshell. It kind of explains what we're doing in this class and what we're going to be touching on. But again, understand that it kind of fits that larger model of a literacy unit and what should be a part of it. Okay. So I'm going to jump around a little bit if y'all don't mind. Let me go back here real quick because I do want to show you guys the lesson plan, the lesson plans and stuff, so you guys can have an idea what you're going to be doing. So you guys can start working on it now. I mean, I'd rather you work on it earlier than later. It's not due for a while. We'll go back to the syllabus in a little while and take a look and see when things are coming due. And I'm going to go ahead, ignore the stuff here. I need to change the dates, but I am going to get in here real quick. For the read aloud lessons, I need to change these things. You guys, we give you a template. I love templates. They're my favorite. They're my favorite. I make them all the time. This is one I think that Dr. Ruffey made, and it works fantastic for our needs. So if you take a look here, when you're writing your lesson, these are the things that I'm going to be looking for and that your peers are going to be looking for to give you feedback on. Of course, teacher, that's you. You're the teacher. Your name goes there. The date. Just pick the date you wrote it because it's going to be hard to say I taught this lesson on such and such date because we don't have kids, which is sad. The title of the book, the genre, the author. Try to be as specific as you can with genre. Don't just say nonfiction. Be a little more descriptive. Is it biography? Is it autobiography? Is it informational? Is it expository? Describe it in a little more detail there. If it's fiction, be more specific. Is it historical fiction? Is it just kind of try to. Is it like a fable? Be as specific as you can with a genre. Standard content area. What do you think I'm going to want to see there? The TEKS, yes, I need to see the TEKS right there on standard and content area. Learning strategy focus, write in words what you're doing. And we've got some examples of things you can think of focusing on, but let's not worry about that yet. What is your strategy with your read aloud lesson? What's your, what's your focus? Modeling. In what ways will I demonstrate my own thinking as a reader? So you have an anchor chart. We're big fans of anchor charts. I highly recommend them. If I'm working on character traits, I'm going to probably have some sort of an anchor chart where it's going to sort of show the kinds of thinking processes that needs to be happening. And when you think about the way characters are described or how you would describe them and how characters change in a story, depending on your grade level. If you're older, if an older student, you may be talking about character change through a story. Questioning before and after. Pre-reading, what kinds of questions am I asking to activate background knowledge? Activating that schema. What kinds of questions will I read as I read the text? So you need to have places where you stop and ask questions that are going to be focused on your learning strategy focus. You keep going back to that strategy, right? Put page numbers, and I'll show you all an example in a minute. Page numbers and exactly what you might ask is great. After reading questions, closure, sending off, how will I pull the lesson together at the end so students know that what they've learned, and then an independent assignment. Guys, you're not gonna be able to model the independent assignment, but have one ready there, okay? Do y'all wanna see the sample now? I think when you see the sample, you'll see that the template really isn't very difficult at all. So here is read aloud or shared reading. I think this is the template. Please tell me it's the example. I do have another question. Are we focusing on lower or, I want you guys to focus on upper elementary if at all possible, please. That's a very good question. Thank you, Shelby. So here's an example of somebody's lesson. Notice what they did. It's a lot longer, but that's because they typed into it, right? This particular student has 2 anchor charts, and that's fine. Her content area is shown. Fantasy fiction is the genre. She was specific. And it's the name of the person is Shelby. What do you know? There's the TEAC 1.6C, and she wrote it out. And then the actual learning strategy that's related to that TEAC. Students will get meaning from a text by making informed predictions. Students will make predictions based on the title and illustrations in the book. Good readers connect their existing knowledge to new information from a text to guess what will happen in the story before, during, and after. She has some ideas in mind for her predicting, for what to use as an anchor chart. And then the questioning. Here's her before reading questions. Guys, you will have access to this. So you can kind of tear this apart and pick it apart when you need to. Look at her during reading questions though. This is what I need to see on yours too. You're not just telling me the questions, but you're telling me on pages 5 and 6, I'm gonna stop and ask something like this. 7 and 8, 15, 16, there's 4 places where she plans on stopping and asking questions. That's great. And they're all predicting questions, aren't they? It's perfect. It's tied right back to that objective. Then after reading, review the predictions made on the prediction pie chart as a class and see if the predictions were correct. Awesome. Closure send off. As a class, we practice making, so she kind of has like a little script here. As a class, we practice predicting while reading the story. Good readers use pictures in the books. Okay, everyone did a great job. Closure send off, just wrap it up, nice and neat. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. And then independent assignments. Each student will be given a handout. What do you think corduroy will be next year for Halloween? Draw a picture of your prediction, then tell me why you think that. Okay, not too terrible, right? And look at that. There is her independent activity. Awesome. So I'm super happy that we have a little, I guess, an example in here. I can actually, what I'm gonna do, and I've already asked the permission from the students, is I've got a couple of examples of students doing their lessons. One used Loom and the other one used something different, but they're really good examples of what it might look like when you video yourself doing your read aloud. So I think that might help y'all as well. So start thinking about what book you think you might use for this. What's good is you don't have to use a leveled reader for this because you know it doesn't have to be at their independent level. You may have a really fun book you want to use for this lesson. As a matter of fact, I have one that I would like to, if we have time, and I think we will when we meet again, an example of one that I did with a Mo Willems book that is fun and it could work for 4th, 5th grade. And Mo Willems is clearly not a 4th, 5th grade level book, but the types of objectives that I had for it fit really well. So So yeah, I'm hoping you guys like that. I'm gonna open that folder as soon as I clean up the dates on it. Okay. I roll everything over every semester, so y'all understand. That's why as we have things come due, that's when I put the assignments in the computer, because otherwise it all gets rolled over with the wrong dates, and that's a mess. So I just make the assignments new. I just change the dates on everything else. Okay. So that's going to be. Let's look at our schedule. This is always fun because it closes this thing sometimes. Let's go to syllabus. Your lesson plan part 1, which would be you guys writing up your lesson plan. And guys, you will get feedback on it so you can make corrections and submit it again. So it's fine. Will be due way over here. March 9th. You got lots of time. But start thinking about your books now, though. Don't start thinking about it at the last minute. Yes. You can do it just to the computer. Yeah, or you can have your a child sitting in the room with you, or you could have your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend just sitting there and watching and pretending to do the part of the student. It's up to you. It really is. I've seen it done lots of ways. Yeah, I think I might use the one where I had the student's boyfriend play the part in the background. And you could hear his voice, but it was helpful for her because it helped kind of her pace herself. So you may want to, but you don't have to. Absolutely not required. As long as I see the parts that I need to see, I'm happy. Okay. All right. Making sure my phone's not blowing up. Nobody's texting me with any panicky questions. Well, I got 2. So yeah, my son is on a soccer team, and I'm on a group text. So that's all I'm getting is group text stuff, and that's okay. That's why I don't like GroupMe. I'm a busy lady. All right, but the first things first, to get you guys ready for your assignment 1, we need to practice looking at teaching in action and identifying the areas that were strong and the areas that need improvement. So if you have it with you, we're going to kind of go straight into today's focus, which is the application assignment 1. It's not due till the 10th. You've got time. We were going to work on it today, but if you've submitted or sent it to me via email already, great. If that's the one you want to keep, that's fine. If you see after we look at this today that you want to change it a little bit and revise it, have at it, you're fine. I haven't even opened the spot for it on Blackboard, I don't think. So I'm going to do that today. That way, those of you guys who want to stay ahead of the game, you can submit it today if you want to, okay? Okay, so let's go back to where we were and to course content. And let's take a look at the materials that you guys had printed out or brought with you. So I'm going to open all of these because I don't have enough stuff on my computer. Y'all are probably thinking the same thing. I don't even know why I said that. Okay. And I'm used to a Mac, so if you guys see me kind of looking around for the right place to change tabs, that's because everything's backward. Okay. I'm just going to open these 2 real quick. Here we go. So the first one I'm going to look at here is your T-test observation evidence sheet. This is part of what you're going to be submitting to me as your application assessment assignment 1. So I want you to look at, planning is going to be really hard for you guys to write about because you don't have this lady's lesson plan. But what I do want you to do is think about domain 2 instruction. I want you to look at students' ability to achieve expectations or her ability to try to elicit that. Content, knowledge, and expertise. Does the teacher understand the content she's teaching is what we're asking there. Communication, differentiation, monitor and adjust. And then classroom environment, routines and procedures, managing student behavior, classroom culture. We're only going to focus on domains 2 and 3 for the lesson that we're going to practice today because we don't see her lesson plans, so it's really hard to see how she planned. I'm going to be giving you feedback on domain 1 and then again on domain 2 when you do your lessons for me. But the thing is, I can only do domain 2 for you guys because I don't know what your learning environment is. But I'll be looking for these other things up here, okay? All right, and hopefully you guys kind of looked over the materials before you came to class. If not, I can go over it with you guys real quick. Gotta find the right thing. Okay, so that you know, and again, we're going to look at, come on, scroll. Looking at domain 2. Oh, this is domain 1. Now, this is what I'll be looking at for you guys. Well, we're gonna be looking at these areas, and it's on the PowerPoint, but I can kind of talk you through it right now. Okay, so basically domain 2, achieving expectations. Is it evident that she's made it really, really clear what the learning objective is? That's the big one. That one's huge. I'll be shocked at how often we look at a lesson that looks pretty good and engaging, but then you step back and you ask yourself, did she tell the kids what the objective was? It's really important you tell them what the learning objective is, and you kind of repeat it occasionally throughout your lesson so that they remember, here's why I'm asking these questions. Content, knowledge, and expertise. Does the teacher understand and teach it using, let's say, research-based strategies? Now, it's going to be kind of hard to say what research or what research is your strategy based on, but oftentimes you can kind of tell, especially if the student is or the teacher is using materials that was provided by the school. You can expect them to be based on research. Communication. Is he communicating well with the class? Are questions being addressed that students may be asking, and so forth. Differentiation. Does it appear that she is trying to teach the lesson in a way that will be, where all the students will be able to achieve, regardless of their special needs or their exceptionalities? Do we notice the teacher monitoring and adjusting instruction to fit the student's needs? And so if it's evident, for example, that the students do not understand the question that was asked or respond in a way that's not indicating they understand the objective, is the teacher adjusting for and looking for those issues and adjusting for them? Okay, those are really, really, really picky points, but I'm going to give y'all some tips of what to really, really look for. And this is what I really, really look for. Are you making your objectives clear? And are your questions kind of drawing out responses related to your objective? If I'm looking for predicting, then the questions I'm asking the students as they read, what do they need to focus on? Predicting, right? Okay. Also, is the teacher kind of going back to that learning objective occasionally and touching on it? Those are things that get missed as well. We can see like what looks like a really fun, great lesson, but we don't see areas where the teacher is making it super evident that the whole lesson was about predicting, or the entire lesson is about using illustrations to help with comprehension, whatever the objective is. Learning environment, here's what I would look for in the videos, because we're going to be able to see these, right? Classroom environment, routines and procedures. Does the teacher clearly have a routine set, or procedure set that are helping the class function properly or in a way that's going to help students learn? Is she managing or he managing student behaviors? And that doesn't necessarily mean negative behaviors. Is somebody falling asleep on their desk and the teacher doesn't seem to notice it? That's a problem. Is a student like turned around in the seat completely and the teacher's not really noticing that? That's a problem. We need to kind of be aware when our kids are sort of, and that happens. Are we bringing them back? Are we noticing that? Or maybe we're engaging that child specifically because we're trying to bring him back or her back. And I'm saying him because there's going to be an example we're going to see where it's a boy. That's why I'm saying him. And then classroom culture. There's going to be a positive classroom culture. Students are respectful of one another, and students and teacher are respectful of each other, and things like that. Mostly though, let's think about classroom environment and those managing student behaviors, okay? Those are the easiest ones to pick out, okay? All right, so y'all ready to watch the practice video? Okay, we're gonna watch practice video. And then I'm gonna put y'all in groups. So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to jot notes on domains 2 and 3, whatever notes you want. And then we're gonna decide which you guys decide to rate the teacher. We're gonna rate them. I know it's kind of like, oh, we're gonna rate them. Ooh, guys, don't be afraid to notice something that could be better. That's what really kind of scary about being like a new teacher, is being critical, but in a positive way. Think of it this way: we don't know this person, so we're not gonna hurt their feelings. Okay. So here we go. Let me find the video for y'all. It's in here. Gotta minimize, minimize. Some of y'all probably already looked at it, already viewed it. If that's the case, no big deal. But I'm gonna find the one that I intended for you guys to look at for this practice. First introduction. Okay. All right, so we're gonna watch this one. All right, ready? Okay. Let's hope it works. It's always a tricky part. Here we go. It's giving me grief. Okay, it's giving me major grief. Okay. Nice, my links are all weird. Let's see. Because there were instructions there. This actually rolled really easy last semester. So it says, if this doesn't work, visit the T-Test website and play the video titled 2, second grade ELA. Okay, let's take a look.
If you click right there on collaboration videos, yeah. And then,
Second grade ELA, y'all ready? We're gonna practice with this one. This is gonna be the one for y'all's. Okay, we're gonna practice with this one though. Please work. I clicked on it. Okay. Okay. Fun, fun. I love it.
oh, it's in your other tab, that middle one.
Oh. The middle one. Let me take a look. Thank you. Let's try it again. Yeah. And right now the Blackboard tools are giving me grief. So here we go. Second grade. Oh. Oops. Version video, second grade. There we go. Okay. Can you hear the video sound? Yes or no? Right. I'll fix it. Yeah. Zoom has this thing where now instead of automatically letting you play the sound, you got to click on something special. So share sound. All right. How about now?
That's everybody? Okay. Wow, how nice and quiet. Okay. Wow, I love the way you guys are so quiet. Okay, first we're going to review. What's review? Yes, we're going to review our song from last week, and then I'm going to show you the new word families that we're learning for this week, okay? Remember, while we're sitting down here, what are the 3 rules that we follow?
Make conversation, solve problems, and show respect.
Right. Okay. So you think you guys are ready?
Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. I saw a baby crawl and said, oh, please don't fall. One day you will walk and baby talk. Baby walk, baby talk. On the sidewalk, baby walk, baby talk. On the sidewalk, the baby tried to draw a cat with a sharp claw. But he could not draw, 'cause he only had a straw. Baby cannot draw, not with just a straw. Baby walk, baby talk. Here's a piece of chalk. Baby walk, baby talk. Draw on the sidewalk. What sound did you hear throughout that whole song? Very good. Okay. So let's see what sound we're going to learn. The sound for this week. Let's see. I'll sing it one time, and then you tell me what sound you hear and what word family.
Okay, don't forget to look also at the kids.
We're going to study this week, okay? If you know it, Marcus, you could. Marcus learned this last year, so. 1, 2, 3. These are what I wore when I played at the seashore. Remember, you're listening, so you could hear what sound we're learning this week, what word family, okay? So listen carefully. And you could look at all the words, so you could ask me about any words you don't know. You already know. Okay, these are what I wore when I played at the seashore. My lucky shoes that helped me score. Score at the ball game on the shore. Score more at the seashore. Score more at the seashore. That was before I got so sore. That was before I tore my shoes when I played too much on the seashore. Score more at the seashore. You know what I mean? Score more at the seashore. I played some more when I got new shoes at the store. Score more at the seashore. Score more at the seashore. Let me see. First, what did you guys think? What sound do you hear? I'm missing my pictures. I just clicked over here. Or, you're right. That's right. Okay, I just paper clipped a bunch of pictures here and I don't see where they are. Here they are. You guys picked up that song really quickly. So you heard all the or. By the way, what does this word mean? One person. Remember, when I go like this, it's one, and when I go like this, everyone could say. What does this say?
Shore?
Yeah. And just shore?
I know seashore.
And what kind of word is that, by the way?
Oh,
Yeah, compound word. What are the two words?
sea and shore.
That's right. So, what is the seashore? Do you know, Rose?
I know the los shores.
No.
That's it.
But that's a good guess.
Like before.
Right. I'm going to show you a picture of the seashore.
No. Shore is almost like a shoe.
No, here's a picture of the seashore right here. Can you guess what the seashore is? Diana, at the beach.
Like
Do
an
you think?
island.
Well, this does have an island in the back. It's this part right here of the beach. It's not the water. It's the land next to the beach. So let's see who's been sitting nicely and paying attention. Christopher, will you get a piece of tape from there and then you could tape it right here next to seashore, okay? And then, yes, sir?
The sea and the shore.
That's right. Thank you, sir. And let's see what else. Do you see any other words that you're not sure about? I was going to say sure about. Why don't we try, let's do like, you know how we do every week, how we make up hand parts to when we sing it? Let's do that, and when we're doing that, if we get to any words you don't know, we'll see if we could add a picture. Right up here. Thank you, sir. Okay, so what do you think we should do for this first line? These are what I wore. What are things that you wear?
Clothes.
Clothes. So, Miguel, what is something that you wore today? Just look at yourself.
Where?
Yeah, what are you wearing today? What is something that he wore? Does anybody know? Some shorts and a shirt. Yeah, so how about if we put this next to wore so that we know that means like, yes, it's what you wear. That's right. Very good, Rose. Rose, why don't you go ahead and get a piece of tape and put that up there. And
Real quick question. What is the learning objective? Is it really clear what she's teaching? Not
Word
really.
families is what she said, right?
Yeah, word families, right? But, I mean, let's just kind of think out loud about, is she making it really evident that they're working on the OR word family, or are they doing a lot of different things all at once? A lot of different things all at once. I'm just kind of sharing that one little part, but also, like I said, keep an eye on the kids, keep an eye on what she's doing. And at the end, and we'll watch more of it, you guys can I'm gonna put you all in groups of 3, and you guys can discuss how you would rate.
I think we should do for that part then. These are what I wore. What should we do? What should we do for this part? These are what, I like that. How about that? Let's all sing this part together and do that. These are what I wore. Let me hear all of you. These are what I wore when I played at the seashore. What can we do for that one? Oh, you're playing, what kind of thing are you playing? What are you playing? I saw you're playing sand. When you heard this whole song though, what do you think they're playing? Because look what they're, maybe volleyball, maybe soccer, because earlier today we talked about how our story this week is about soccer. So they could have played soccer.
How could people play soccer on the sand?
Well,
That's
they
the water might
could.
take it away.
But on the sand, we,
So you don't have to hit yourself so hard.
you could play soccer on the seashore.
I
I
do
played
know.
before.
Where's
So
seashore?
here's the seashore.
But you might kick the ball to the water. Yeah.
So you got to go really far away from the water to play. Have you, you know how many of you have gone to the beach? Okay, that's why it's gonna be good when we all go on our field trip to the beach, so you could see. And guess what? We could bring a soccer ball on that day and play. Yes.
I used to have a football. I was playing with my brother and sister. Because Marie was there.
Uh huh. Okay.
The football went to the water
Mhm.
every time, but it was keep going back to us.
Well, that's good. Okay, so anyways, let's go on. These are what I wore when I played at the seashore. So what should we do for seashore? So that we'll remember this word. Now we're gonna know this big new word. What can we do to remember it?
Play with the sand and then swim in it.
Okay, but what can we do with our hands? So we remember. Eddie's told me the last one. How about somebody else tells me?
Like that? Like volleyball. Yeah.
But will that make you think of seashore?
This looks that you could play in the seashore.
Okay, but tell me what we could do for seashore. Okay, so we're gonna say, these are what I wore when I played at the seashore.
When the waves come.
I like that. How about that? When the waves come, and that. These are what I wore when you could play whatever you want to play. It's just, let's play volleyball. When I played, or sand, when I played at the seashore. You could go like this, and then flat, because there's water and then there's, okay? So, start again, ready? By the time we're done, you're all gonna know this like this. Ready? These are what I wore when I played at the seashore. My lucky shoes that helped me score. What do you think? Okay, yeah, you could just touch your shoe. My lucky shoes that helped me score. What does score mean? Shoes when I played too much on the seashore. So what did this person tear?
Oh, he teared his shoes.
Right. So that was, what can we do for that? That was before I tore my
Hour?
shoes when I played
I'm
too
looking up
much at the seashore. Score more
Looks like it's an hour and a
at the seashore. Score more at the seashore. I played some more when I got new shoes at the store.
At the store? Shoes when they walk.
Okay, when I played, okay, please solve this problem. You three could solve it, I know you could.
Don't interrupt.
I played some more when I got new shoes. Tyler, my friend, how about this? How about you go sit right there, please? Because you're a really tall boy and you could see. Okay, sit right there. Turn around this way, Tyler. Come on.
Okay.
Okay.
That's probably enough. Okay, sound good? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys in groups in Zoom, and I'm just gonna do them randomly, so you guys just kind of bear with me. And what I want you to do is I want you to together decide, based on your notes, on what you wrote. And if you didn't write on every little section, that's fine. I see some of y'all did and some of y'all may not have, because some of it was kind of hard to catch. But you can get together and we'll talk about how we would rate the teacher based on the 10 minutes that we saw. That, you know, the ding dong means somebody joined the class, and that's okay. The way I've got this set up, guys, if you get kicked out of Zoom and need to get back in, you should be able to get back in really, really easy. So I did that on purpose. Let me go ahead and, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop share. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do breakout rooms. And so there's a button down here that says breakout rooms. I'm gonna make, since there's, let me see. I'm gonna make, you will in a minute. Yeah, I haven't set them up yet. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and do 7 groups. Yeah. Okay, and now automatically you're putting groups of 2, like pairs, but I notice I've got Kayla here, so I'm gonna move Kayla to room 1 so that she's not all by herself. So we've got you guys in these groups. I'm going to open all the rooms. And if you guys can log into Zoom, if you've got a laptop, or hopefully you do, you will hopefully see a button there. Oh, hey, look at that. You guys are already jumping in your rooms. I'm going to give y'all like 15 minutes to talk about your sheets. And then I'm going to pop in and visit you guys a little bit. But then here we go. Looks like Samantha got back in. I'm going to assign you. Ooh, in Brooke. Oh, I see. No problem. 5, 6. I hear my voice. Okay. 7, 2, 3, 4. This is perfect. 5. And guys, with social distancing, this is the best I could do. So I appreciate it. Okay. All right. So the 7 or 6. Oh, okay. Here we go. Sierra, I'm moving you to room 1. So we will have a group of 4. I'm just making sure everyone's in a room. Sound good? All righty. Let me know if there's any issues. It's going to get loud in here. Sorry about that, but. Okay. Okay, guys, welcome back. It's okay. Okay. I'm in an echo chamber. Yeah, it's okay. I hate the sound of my voice on recording. That's okay. That's okay. All right, so I just wanted to kind of share with you guys what we have coming next. I'm going to give you guys a choice on what you're going to do as your application assignment because, and I'm trying to think who it was, Shelby is asking great questions today, wanted to know, do we have something for a larger grade? I think is what she was asking. So you can choose to do the second grade one that was originally a part of this assignment, especially those of you guys, I know somebody already did there. They already completed it and turned it in. You don't have to do it over again if that's the case. However, there is another one right here that I copied and pasted the link to a 4th grade lesson, a pretty good 4th grade lesson where it's an interactive read aloud. So that might be something that you would want you can do instead. So take a look at both videos, see which one you would like to do. Either one is fine, just indicate it on your assignment if you could. So basically you'll be doing the following instructions. Y'all ready? You're going to view the calibration video or the 4th grade video. I'm not picky. Evaluate the teacher the way you did today with your partners. And we're going to talk about what we said in a little while so we can kind of share y'all's feedback and I can show y'all what the evaluator said. Record evidence of the teacher's strengths and weaknesses on that sheet for domain. I'm saying domains 2 and 3. Domain 1 is hard. We don't know her lesson plan. So let's just do domains 2 and 3. And that's, I'm going to change that. Actually, I'm going to change it specifically on here too. That way it kind of fits, I feel like, your needs. Where am I? Down here. I'm going to say, or 4th grade video. See link below. All right. And then here, I'm going to say domains 2 and 3, because I think that's completely doable with these videos, especially even with the 4th grade video. You can see what's going on in the classroom and everything. Oh, don't do this to me. I just erased stuff on accident. Fun stuff. All right, domains 2 and 3. Okay. Hang on. Oh, y'all ever have one of those days? I'm having one of those days. There we go. Use a planning domain, collect quality evidence document to help you record. Y'all have that, right? Use the t-test rubric to determine whether you think it's one of those categories that you guys, somebody asked me about a while they were doing this. We're going to use those categories. Then you're going to compare it Compare your completed one with the second grade ELA Making Predictions Lessons rankings. Write a short reflection. Was evaluating the teacher easy or difficult? Be honest. How would y'all think right now? Was it easy or difficult with the teacher that we just looked at? Yeah, and that's okay, and that's completely fine. I mean, I can imagine doing this as a job. I would not want that job. But yeah, you'd have to watch it a few times to make sure you're not missing something. Even in, like I heard somebody say, the benefit of a doubt, because we didn't see the whole lesson. How did your ranking of the teachers planning and instruction compare to the rankings? You don't have to answer this if you do the fourth grade one. That's okay, all right? No, because I don't have a ranking sheet for her. Well, we're going to talk about it next week, so it's going to be fine. Yeah, you'll see that it's different, but it's good. Which domain subcategories or parameters do you think will be your strengths? Which will you think will be your challenges? And be honest. What do you think you might see yourself getting a lower rating on compared to others, and which ones do you think you're going to totally, knock out of the ballpark? So just kind of talk about that. And let me go ahead and share my screen so that the people on Zoom can actually see what I'm doing. I made changes on there. You'll see the changes as soon as I click submit, just letting y'all know that. Share. There, now y'all can see. Okay, so let me hit submit so you guys can decide which one you want to do. Guys, it's a pass-fail. Either you get 5 points or you get 0 points. Okay? Don't stress about it. I mean, we're going to come back to class on Monday, or next Wednesday, I should say, and you're going to discover that your ratings may be completely different from another person's, and that's okay. You might have caught certain things that the other person did not catch, and that happens. We're brand new to this. Don't stress yourself out or worry yourself too terribly about it. But I now have a place for you guys to submit it. Application assignment 1, upload here. Click on that, and you should be able to upload your documents. Due February 10th. You got a whole week to stress about this, and I'm just kidding, to worry about this and get it done. Even though I know some of y'all might have already done it, here's your place to upload it if you want to. If you haven't done it yet or you want to redo it because we practiced it in class, by all means, feel free to, okay? But I'm explaining right now why I have waited to put the spots to upload on Blackboard until the date that I talk about it. It's because I want to make sure the due dates are correct. And that way I'm not having to go in. You're not getting messages from Blackboard saying something's late when it's not late, because that's stressful enough considering you guys are doing your field basing this semester. Okay. All right. So what did y'all, let's take a look and talk about the teacher whose video we just talked, or you guys just viewed. I'm going to take a look at the rubric, which I have right here. And I know you guys wrote evidence, and we're not going to really talk about the evidence right now. Let's really just kind of talk about the ratings for each. So domain 2, instruction, achieving expectations. What do y'all think? What were some things y'all noticed about her delivery of the lesson and her focus on the objectives? I heard a lot of things as y'all talked, and you guys were really pretty much, yeah. I mean, you saw some things that she needed to work on, right? What were some things that she did that you think maybe hurt the lesson delivery? Yeah, it was really hard to know that they were working on word families and what those word families were. She just kind of jumped straight into that little song, right? Somebody else said that she was doing too much. She was doing she was very extra. It was a great, cute lesson, but it was way too much for what she was trying to, her objective. So she seems like a really sweet lady, but she was probably like a student teacher. So she was probably brand new at it, but at the same time, she needed to focus in on word families more than worrying about a picture that's gonna go or a hand movement that's gonna go with the story. So here's some good chats in here. Yeah, lesson did drag on. It really did. I mean, even the video had to say later she finished the song, and we don't even know for sure how much time. It could have been an hour. I think it might have been. So it did drag on and on. Lots of different students. She lost their attention, and I think some of y'all noticed that. Yeah, it was too much. It was too much for what she wanted. And if she knew she was being evaluated, that's the time to really make sure you're on topic. Yeah, then that's okay. And it could have been a tough day. We don't know the teacher, benefit of the doubt kind of thing, right? We only watched it one time. All right, content, knowledge, and expertise. Did she show her understanding and knowledge of word families? She kind of did. Yeah, she did. She did okay there. I mean, we'll take a look at what the evaluator said there. Would you have any comments on what you wrote or notes you wrote on that section? Yeah, 2.2. No? How about communication? Yeah, she asked some probing questions. Were they on topic with word families a lot of times though? Yeah, they were a little bit, right. And it was a little bit, it was a lot of kids talking at the same time as the teacher, and it was a little confusing. So communication, there were some areas where she could have worked on that. And I'm gonna ask y'all about your ratings in a little while. We're just gonna talk about the evidence right now. Differentiation, guys, don't worry. It was hard to tell if it was differentiated, and that's okay. If you didn't have any comments on differentiation, don't worry about it. Monitor and adjust. She did. Yeah, she did. She did monitor and adjust a few times. That's true. Okay, and we're going to kind of focus on this second 3.2, managing student behavior. What did you think? I heard some comments, some interesting comments, and you guys were really paying attention to what was going on in the background, right? What did y'all notice? Y'all already said it too, actually, right?
She was kind of just telling the students in the front stuff, but the students.
There we
in the
go.
back
Exactly.
stuff.
She lost their attention. And that's a great place to write it here. The kids were losing their attention. It dragged on. And they were, yeah, she was more focused on the hand signs than she was on the words and the word families. And that was the objective. And she just sort of got off on these tangents. The kids would ask questions and they would go off on tangents. And so there was a lot going on in the class. Bless her heart. She seems like a very sweet lady. But yeah, there were lots of areas for improvement in domains 2 and 3. So what did y'all think of, what would y'all have put for 2.1? Developing? Okay, or I heard some needs improvement. Okay. And then for 2.2? Thank you, Ashley. 2.2? Developing as well. Yeah, she could probably use that. She wasn't terrible, but communication? Proficient? Okay. Differentiation? It might be, that might be evidence of differentiation. She's trying to engage them in kinesthetic. So yeah, maybe developing because she did kind of get a little sidetracked with it, but developing for sure, right? If that's the case. And then monitoring and adjusting. Let's take a look at what the raters said. It's gonna be fine. Okay, here we go. Domain 1. They might only talk about domain 1 here, but I think this kind of goes back to, yeah, it does. It goes back to what some of the other things were. So we have here, it's here. So we're starting with achieving expectations, which is part of domain 1. But here she talks about, the rater talks about there was a lack of understanding where the lesson started and where it ended. Because you think about it, she started with kind of like a review and kind of jumped into the new song. And it was like, oh, did she change? Is this a new word family? Now we knew it was, but it wasn't super clear and the kids might not have realized it, right? Not all of them at least. Some of them did, but maybe not all of them. So you'll notice it says improvement needed here under that first domain 2.1. This is similar to that one that you guys marked. Some of y'all said needs improvement, right? Trust me, the raters are gonna be a lot harsher than we are because we're kind-hearted souls, or we're gonna teach elementary school, right? Okay. Here we go. Content, knowledge, and expertise. They said improvement needed. Teacher displayed adequate knowledge of the selection and vocabulary, did not teach according to best practices, and so on. Communication, some questions during the reading portion were appropriate for encouraging thought, and that was later in the lesson. So if you kind of go along, you'll notice, use throughout the lesson, student seating assignments that appear to enhance student learning and so on. The feedback was very similar to what you guys said. And yes, the raters were harsh, and that's okay, because that's what raters' jobs are, and I don't envy their job. I'm gonna make sure we were looking at the right one. Oh, you know what? Next week, I'm not gonna hit a paint bucket in the road. It's gonna be awesome. I'm just gonna keep saying that. It's gonna be awesome. That's what I've been saying about the spring semester. It's gonna be awesome. I don't know about y'all's fall. My fall was like the pits. Okay. All right, here we go. Needs improvement. So this is for sure the same lady. Okay. Yeah, this is the same one. Ooh, it was the same one. So yeah, and lots of need improvement, developing on communication. So yeah, if we kept watching, we saw a lot of the same behaviors going on in the video. I didn't want to say if you guys sit and watch 30 or 40 minutes, but she got a lot of improvement needed and some developing classroom routines and procedures. We knew there were some in place. Like you were saying, it was pretty organized. She lost track of where her pictures were at that one point. That was a little bit ouch, but look at managing student behaviors. Much of the feedback and behavior related to the teacher seemed to almost laugh at some of the behaviors and so on. Class culture improvement needed. The teacher started the lesson by stating, what are the 3 rules we follow? Solve problems and show respect. Okay, so she kind of refers to the classroom culture, the classroom rules, ways of respect and so forth, but she just touches on them and moves on. And it then becomes kind of a shared voice throughout the class where we've got the kids talking while the teacher's talking, they're losing interest, and she just kind of barrels on with the lesson. All right, so I think a lot of you guys, thank you. A lot of you guys were pretty much on target, which is great. You guys were able to see some things that as a teacher, you need to kind of come up with strategies to work with, how to improve on it. These evaluations aren't to hurt the teacher, it's to help them get feedback on things that they can do better. And so when I look at your lesson plans and I'm looking at domain 1 and I get it back to you, for revisions, don't think of it as, oh, Dr. Bickford, she hates me, I'm terrible, oh my gosh. No, just make the corrections, piece of cake, we're learning. This is your first time. You're not gonna get proficient and right off the bat. You can expect to get some feedback for some corrections and so forth, okay? So, was this helpful? I hope it was. When you watch the video tonight or tomorrow night or whenever it is you have a chance to look at it, I want you to keep a lot of these things in mind. Focus on domains 2 and 3 because we can see those. We can't really see her lesson plan. But look at domains 2 and 3, her behaviors, the students' behaviors, and so forth. Whichever video you choose is fine. They're about the same length. So have fun with it. If you want to do 4th grade because you feel like that's kind of our focus in this class anyway, by all means, use the 4th grade video. I really like the 4th grade video. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to have to really, really hone in on her behaviors, okay? Just pay attention and don't think that if you say something different than another person that you're wrong. And I'm not taking points off. Either turn it in completely or you don't turn it in completely. And you guys are going to turn it in completely, okay? You've got a week. Otherwise, do y'all have any other questions for me today? Yes. Feb 10, yeah, it's due next week. Yeah, you've got a week. Does it really? Oh, I'm gonna change it then. It should say Feb 10. Thank you very much. And if you guys look and I'm glad you brought that up. That was a mistake. No, it's due when basically by 8 a.m. on Wednesday, before we get to class. Make sure it's done, it's turned in so we can use it and talk about it and share before we start jumping into the other stuff. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yeah. And if you need to, let me know. I can open this so that you can do multiple submissions. That way, if you forget to attach something, you can go in and do it again and I'll see both. Like I said, it's 5 points or no points. You guys are gonna be fine. I want you to try it. Don't feel stressed that you gotta do it perfect. You're not gonna do it perfect and that's okay, all right? All right. Otherwise, unless y'all have questions, you're free to go. I kept you guys till almost 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh. All right, so group A, do y'all have any questions online? I don't see any hands raised. I so appreciate you guys showing your faces. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. All right, you guys are free to go. Have a great week. Have fun with the video that you choose. And what's interesting is it's a very different video. And I promise you this, it's a lot less, these videos are a little more of what you might really see. The other one was, yeah, bless her heart.
I had a question.